Hi, welcome to AFTV. I've got Robbie with me. We've just lost to Man United 2-0 and we lost in penalties as well. I'm sorry I have to throw that in there, but...
Oh, don't talk about that penalty thing, yeah, man.
Wasn't great.
When they did that penalty thing, me and Lee Judges turned around and we were about to walk out. I mean, what are you doing penalties for? You know what I mean? We play a game and that will do. We don't need to play no penalties as well.
I hear that. Listen, I just spoke with Lee and he said he seems very, very frustrated. He said it feels like quite meltdown-ish, and I know it's pre-season, but there is cause for concern. And the reason why I say that is because last season, pre-season, we watched us play Chelsea, we battered them, and it felt completely different. The whole mood, the whole levels, the intensity that Arsenal were bringing. Today was nothing compared to last season at all. And Mikel even made them train after a full training session, all the players after. There's only supposed to players that didn't get involved, right. But he made the whole team train because of the performance we just saw at the MetLife. Fantastic,
right? Because that's the wake-up call, right? Because sometimes we as fans have probably been getting too ahead of ourselves, yeah. Because you know, we beat the MLS team 5-0. We, you know, even against Nuremberg, we weren't great, but we started pre-season all right, yeah. And that's a wake-up call today now, right? Because I saw in the game today, there weren't quite that intensity that I was expecting, right? Whereas United, they did have that intensity. They're very aggressive, in fact, sometimes over-aggressive. I mean, I thought Lisandro Martinez lucky to still be on the pitch. That foul he put in on Saka, but yeah. That was just showing you the aggression and intensity they were playing with. Whereas with us, we were all right, but we was just neat and tidy, patterns of play, but we were poor. We made some poor errors. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we got punished.
We did.
And that is a wake-up call. That is almost like a reminder that, you know, all right, you've made big signings. There's a feel-good factor around the place, but the reality of the Premier League is you're going to come up against your Man Uniteds, your Chelseas, your Man Cities, Liverpools, and if you make errors, stupid errors, yeah. You get punished. And that's exactly what happened to us today. 2 bad errors, they punished us, and then they just shut the game down, and we didn't do anything after that.
Robbie, are you
we couldn't break them down.
Is there a call for concern a little bit though? Because for me, out of all the 3 USA pre-season tours, this is the game I think many of the fans were looking at. I mean, Barcelona.
Yeah, you don't want to lose to Manchester United, but I'm not overly concerned because I'm more glad that he's taken the act. I heard he was upset in his press conference. I'm glad about that because then you know that that's going to go through to the players. And I heard that he had them, you know, running and training out on the pitch like after the game, and I'm glad about that. And this is all part of the process of, you know, getting to have a, you know, this is all the process of a pre-season. So that when we get into the first game of the season now against Nottingham Forest, we're up and running. The challenge is now for those players in the next game against Barcelona to put in a better performance. But today was poor, yeah. But really the majority of it was really based off of bad errors, man. I thought Ramsdale, that's a standard save, man. That was a really, really poor error, and I don't need to tell him. You don't need to tell him. He'll know that, right? Yeah. And then Gabriel, what was he doing? You know what I mean? That was a shocking error. And even then, I felt we could have done it. He sort of made up the ground. He could have marshalled out Sancho a bit better, although it was a fantastic finish by Sancho.
It was.
But that just shows you, when you're up against quality and you make them errors, you're going to get punished. So a little wake-up call. Maybe some of those players, I don't know that for a fact, but maybe some of them players have been getting a bit too carried away, and now that's a reminder. Premier League's coming, mess around, you know what I mean, makes little stupid errors, punishment. Yeah. That's what you get, you know what I mean? New York punishment, that's what we got.
Robbie, it feels like, you know, Arsenal of old, and you said about individual errors, and that's what it felt like today. I was looking at a team that I saw a few seasons back where it's just errors from individual players. But I do want to ask you, what are you looking for in this next pre-season game? We're going to LA, we're going to see them at the SoFi Stadium against Barcelona. For you as a fan, because there is levels of uncertainty right now, for me especially, because I wanted to see this game and then be flying intensity, like I mentioned before. So what do you want to see from the boys? What do you expect playing against Barcelona going this Sunday?
Intensity. 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 I want to see the team up their levels. I want them to cut out the mistakes because, again, you're playing against Barcelona. That's Lewandowski and guys like that, right? If you do the same errors, it will be the exact same result. So I want to see them cut out the errors. I want to see them have a real intensity to their game. I just want to see better performances all round, you know what I mean? But I thought today, as I said, you know, we made those errors, we conceded those goals, and then after that, Man United, they put in a really good defensive performance and just shut us down. And we didn't really threaten after that, you know what I mean? Apart from, again, I mean, I've criticised the defence Eddie Nketiah today. You know, brilliant bit of play, I think it was by Odegaard, plays him in. Now you've got to, if you don't square that ball, you have 2 players running in. If you don't square that ball and you're going to be greedy as a striker, you've got to score. And he didn't. And again, you know what I mean? I feel there are some players in this team that are under pressure. He's one of them, right? Because there's a lot of fans out here saying Balogun or Eddie, right? So when you're getting your chances, you've got to bury him. Balogun had a couple of chances the other day. He had 2 clear chances. He missed his 2. I had to remind that to a guy who was saying to me we should have played Balogun. So both of them haven't been firing yet in pre-season. They got to get it right. They got to get sharper, because if they're going to be the guys that are up there leading the line, one of those 2, those chances, both of them in those last few games, they got to bury them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so those sort of things I want to see better. I want to see more from Kai Havertz, right? I want to see more from Declan Rice and Timber. But listen, they've only just come.
Yeah.
And we've got to give them a chance. We've got to give Rice has not even played a full game yet. Not played. A guy said to me, I'm a little bit worried about Rice. Okay, yeah, it's
it just reached.
He played 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we've got to be also, with fans, we've got to have a bit of reality as well. We've got to allow these players to bed into the team. Allow Havertz to bed in. Allow Rice to bed in. Allow, you know what I mean? There's players even there probably playing a bit out of position, because even the system that we played today seemed to be a bit experimental. It's almost like we were playing 3 at the back.
Yeah.
And we were getting caught out with it. It didn't really work, you know what I mean? So I'm not overly concerned. I'm really waiting to see what the response is on the next game. I've loved what you've told me, because obviously I was out here, so I didn't see that. Yeah. But I loved that Arteta was angry, and I loved that he was putting them through their paces after that as well, because it's 83,000 fans there.
I know, that was...
yeah, and that's the thing about it. I mean, I know it's pre-season, and that is the pressure that comes from playing when you're going to play a team like Man United in a pre-season. There's 83,000 expecting fans there. Going into the game, we're the favourites, really. Let's be real.
Yep.
Right, everybody's had us as winning that game.
And don't forget, United had a weaker side out there. They had a number 2 goalkeeper.
United started with a weaker team.
Yeah.
Right, and they deserve to win the game, and that's not good enough by Arsenal. So those are the things we've got to fix up. So what I want to see when we go into that Barcelona game, I want to see a response to this. I want to see
a big response, as in like you want to. I see a lot of goals dominate the whole game.
Hey, hold on, it's Barcelona, right? So it's going to be another really tough game, right? That we could quite easily not win. But I want to see the intensity. I want to see a much better performance than what I saw there. No errors, cut out the errors, and concentration levels have to be high. And I didn't think the concentration levels were high today, because Ramsdale, you know, in the Premier League he saves those all day long. All day. And Gabriel's better than that as well. So the concentration levels weren't high. So that has to change. Okay. But listen, I always say it, pre-season, if we win, I don't get carried away. If we lose, I don't get carried away. It's about getting prepared so that when we go into that first game against Forest, we hit the ground running, smash them, that's it. But it is I feel it's a bit of a setback, because, you know, it's, well, I don't even say it as a setback. It's a big, big reality check. This is the Premier League. It's a bit of a reminder of that today, and maybe that's a good thing.